Okay, so mine's fractionally different to what has been said. I will just get my notes again. Mine's all about a convict, his lady, and the family connections that appear from that couple. And hopefully you'll find it interesting like I did. The convict's name is William Smith, and he was born in Warwickshire in 1784. On the 27th of July 1809, William Smith and William Leake were charged for robbing a James Coton of a cheque and a £1 note and his watch. But they didn't waste time in those days, and in 5th of August 1809, he was set, just 24 years of age, he was sentenced to death. But his sentence was reduced and he was sent to transportation to New South Wales Penal Colony for life. He spent some time on another prison hulk, this on the Captivity, before he sailed from England in 1810 on the Indian. Now, just have a quick look, you might not see this, but it says William Smith, and a little right here it says, sent on board the Indian on the date, 1810. So sort of just a little bit of confirmation that he actually did go on that ship. On his arrival in New South Wales, he was assigned to the Reverend Samuel Marsden, and he settled down quickly, and he was obliging, he worked hard, and as far as we know, he didn't have any other run-ins with the law, which was good. He struggled hard, and with the help of Samuel Marsden, he's for a petition, which was granted. Now, this is the original letter that he sent. Oh, go back. Go back. And it simply says on the bottom of it, it says, the petitioner is a sober, honest, industrious man who laboured hard to support a small family. Now, just a side note, when I read through quite a number of these different letters, a lot of them said the same thing about the same person, which I thought just, that's what they had to do. He was given a conditional pardon on the 31st of January, in January 1818. William worked, he was given some land and he worked on his 50 acres, which he called Thornyfield Farms and Orchard, from 1812 until his death in 1865. William done well for himself. At his death, I reckon the estate was worth about £1,000. And I calculated that out to about $200,000 Australian. But who was the lady? So who was the lady? The lady was Isabella. And she arrived as a free settler on board the Duke of Portland on the 10th of November in 1807 with 192 male convicts and a handful of female convicts. It is alleged that Isabella ran away from home with a man named Brown. Maybe they started the trip together, we don't know, because there were 3 Browns listed on the same ship, so we don't know which is which. But also 3 people died on the voyage out, so that was a fairly safe voyage compared to some of the others, so that was good. But Isabella was only 17, and it's highly improbable that she made the journey by herself at that time to start a new life in a new colony that she probably wouldn't have known anything about. It's stated in the New South Wales musters in 1811 and the 1814 that Isabella Jones had come out on the Duke of Portland. So we just got to confirm that things happen. Her first marriage was to a convict called John Jones, and he was on the Portland. And they married on the 22nd of February 1808 at St John's Church in Parramatta. And they had one child called Jane, who was born in 1809. On the marriage certificate, it says Isabella Brown. But was it? We're not too sure what happened to John Jones. I'm sorry. Because we got his sentence, but unfortunately 3 people by the same name, John Jones, died in the colony between the time that she was born, first child was born. So we're not too sure. We couldn't find any connection to any of those, so we don't know. We presume he died. At the age of 22, Isabella married the convict, William Smith. And in 1812, but by 1833 they had 10 children. If we take note of the witnesses, there's a William Bellamy and an Anne Bellamy. I'll come back to those later. But the ancestry of Isabella is a bit of a mystery. And researchers over a long period of time have tried to trace her in England and to establish the name of her parents and thus establish a lineage. But there's a story told by her descendants which come from from her daughter Emily. Isabella's real name is Isabella Hope, and she was the daughter of Lord and Lady Hope. And a search in the United Kingdom for both Isabella Hopes and Isabella Browns found a number of children born in the same area in 1790 on Newcastle upon Tyne, where Isabella said she was born. Descendants said that Isabella did speak of her mother, and when asked about her life in England, she became very upset and would burst into tears. It's interesting to note, this is the copy of the death certificate. Interesting to note it says parents unknown, yet she spoke about them according to the family. Her maiden name is mentioned on various other documents. Two of her sons' death certificate. On one of them it says Isabella Hope, and on the other it says Isabella Brown. Confusion. Her daughter's middle name, her daughter Emily's middle name is Hope. Yet the mystery remains. Why did Isabella Brown, or is that Hope, just 17 years of age, journey as a free immigrant to the colony of New South Wales? At that time, the colony was about 20 years old, and it was still a battling community. It's a secret that Isabella's taken to her grave. And maybe, I think, in this day and age with DNA testing, maybe someone in a family in England may come across a family in New South Wales that they have a connection, but we don't know. Over time, I've climbed through my family tree, and I've made some strange discoveries. And one of those was just how connected families were in New South Wales between 1788 and 1900. So come along with me and I'll give you a journey. William Smith and Isabella Brown had a son called James, who married Susanna Bellamy, and a son called Sarah, who married Edward Gallard. Interesting. Did I get there, did I? Interesting, Edward Gallard, he was one of the first orchardists to grow the Granny Smith apple. Anyway, so Susan Gallard married Alfred Joyce Lovell, had a son called Percy, married Gladys, and had a son called Joseph, who married Betty Miles, who had a son called Barry. Barry's my brother. Second one, William Smith and Isabella Joan again. They had another son called Charles, who married Jane Pierce. And they had a daughter called Isabella, who married Moses Walters. They had a son called Pierce, who married Hilda Morris. They had a son called Athel who married Sheila Bell. "160 years after this couple here got married, my brother married Robin Walters in 1972.
Oh, okay.
That makes my brother and his wife fourth cousins once removed.
Interesting.
And when I told them about it, they said, "Isn't that illegal?" I said, "I want a divorce." But I'm pleased to say that after 50 years, they're still happily married. But interestingly, my brother and his wife are born on the same day, 2 years apart. Remember the witnesses?
Yes.
William and Isabella, a couple called William and Anne Bellamy. Well, they were both convicts. William arrived in 1791 and Anne Fay arrived in 1796. Now, follow theirs down. We come across William Fay and Anne Fay had a man married, and they had a son called James, and they had a daughter called Mary, who is the sister. They married James Shields, who married a son called Alfred. Come down the page, come to Sheila Bell.
Yeah, Sheila Bell.
So the connections are always there somewhere. But Sheila Bell's ancestry also tells us that her third times great-grandfather, William Bell, was born in 1759. He sailed with Lord Horatio Nelson. Oh, go back. And this is the original letter, and that's just the...
Oh, a recommendation. Oh,
Yep.
wow.
It's also interesting to note that Sheila's great-granduncle has his life story written about him in the Stockman Hall of Fame in Queensland. Our families also have connection to the First Fleet. While mine is directly related to John Randell and Joseph and John Martin, who were both Afro-American convicts, the Walters family also has one. Theirs comes down through William Douglas and Mary Groves, and if you just read down through there, you'll see that they have an indirect line across there. But it was pure luck a number of years ago. I came across another family connection. And this one just blew me away. When I was an apprentice at the New South Wales Government Printing Office in 1965 and 1980, I worked with a guy called Harry. As it turned out, Harry had a brother in Perth, whom I met many years ago when Harry visited. I was contacted by Reg about 3 years ago about some photographs. So over this coffee one Saturday morning, they showed me their extensive family history, but I was impressed. On both sides, very well done. But I was even more impressed when I discovered Reg's wife, Janet, whose maiden name was Bellamy. So we have Joseph Bellamy, John Bellamy, and Janet Bellamy. And Joseph is the brother of those two. So there, who would have thought that a guy I worked with 57 years ago, that his future sister-in-law would turn out to be a distant cousin. Wonders. But then again, would have thought that my brother Barry, who would travel 600 kilometres up the coast of New South Wales, surfing along the way, would meet a young lady called Robin in Coffs Harbour. and later married. Not in your wildest dreams did anybody think that these two families were ever connected, because they were both spread across the state, far and wide. But there they are. 2016, we visited some friends in in Pennant Hills, and the street opposite their house is called Hannah-Bellamy Close. And Hannah is my fourth great-grandmother. She was born Hannah Singleton, which is this lady here.
Okay, yes.
James, he had 14 children by the first wife, and at the age of 75, he still had 2 more children by a second wife.
Oh, goodness.
So it's a very, very big family. And just before I finished, I'd just like to say thank you to all the presenters, because I think they're all really different stories and different perspectives of their families, and also to the library staff who helped to do all the setup and helped me organise this over the period of time. But remember, we do live in a small world, so you don't want to take a look around, because somebody in this room might be connected to you. Just on the table in the corner, we have a few books that have been written by different people, and they've been written in different ways. So if you're thinking about doing your family history, have a look and see what sort of style you'd like, and have a go at it. Jan came to us probably 3 years ago. Yes. Said we need a bit of help, so we started on the family history thing, and then we got round to Jan finished her book, which was great. So just remember that Wendy, Leslie, and myself are here every Tuesday. So if you've got something you want followed up and you want any help with, please come down and see us. Wendy's also during the Love on Fridays. Thank you.